Happy Homebrew Wednesday. You join me on quite a cold night. In here, I've had to put the their heater up there on. It hasn't been on for the longest for like a year, but it's on tonight. Kind of cold, but I always think it's cold in here. And then you walk out that door, and it's like that is properly cold. So anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. So I'm drinking a beer. Yes, this is the Pilgrim beer from last week. Look how clear that is. Fantastic. I did use gelatin in this, to be fair. And it's obviously done the trick, because it always looks better when it's clear. A beer like that, you want it to be clear. Tasting pretty good as well. I mean, that little bit of harshness I was talking about last week, it's still there, but it's not as intense, I don't think, or maybe I'm just used to it. Maybe that's what it is, but it's going down really well. I think that keg is going to kick definitely this weekend. I think possibly tonight, because I was out here. This is a Saturday night. I was out here last night, Friday, and I had a few pints. Let's say that, a few pints, and yeah, and then I kind of accidentally moved the keg a little bit, and it was like really light. It was light. I was just like, oh shit, that's gonna kick. So, oh well. Anyway, again, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about something else. Here to talk about fermenters. So I bought a new fermenter last week. I'm gonna take it on its maiden voyage tomorrow for a brew day, which is why I'm out here. I'm just gonna get prepped for the brew day. I thought when I'm out here, I may as well, just having a beer, I may as well just put the video on and we will do a quick, I'll show you what it is basically. So yeah, it's up here. Come on, I'll show you. So yeah, I have this kind of this shelf up here with all the fermenters on. So this is the new one, stainless steel, 26.5 litre, something like that. It's going to be replacing the two plastic ones on the end. And then the Young's fermenters here, the three of them, I still use them. They're quite good because it's basically a bucket with a handle on top. So it's quite handy to use. But I think I'm going to chuck them two there out. And then that'll leave us with a small hopcat, which is no good. That one, don't ferment in those. And then in here, we've got the Firmzilla. So it's obviously still a beer in it. So we'll not be able to take that out and show you, because I'm going to talk about that as well. Okay, so this is it here then. So stainless steel, we've got the hole for the airlock on top. Don't use airlocks, so that's going to be covered up with cellophane. We've got a top at the bottom, and we've got this, which is kind of a thermo well type thing, and then it's just like an LED thermometer, I suppose, goes in there, which is what that is. So I don't know how accurate that is or whatever, but you'll see. So the hinges are all kind of spring loaded, as you would expect. Oh, missed one at the back. Okay, so there's the lid. Looks decent. A bit of silicone around the outside just to suit it. Just that big hole, but you know, I suppose the air needs to escape somehow. Then inside, just everything you expect. The little arm at the edge, so all the trouble fall down there. It's a conical base, and then that little arm will kind of take the wart from the top. And yeah, that's it. Also, too, which is quite handy, if you can see that, there's markings. There's actually markings on this where there wasn't on the hopcat. Otherwise, I would have known. That's why I didn't put it on the hopcat, because I knew it was too short. So I need to measure that. I'm gonna get this all cleaned as well too, either tonight or probably tomorrow morning, because my hands are frozen solid here. It's gonna be going into the fridges, this one and this one. And the problem is, which I was concerned about, is that step at the back, which is the same for all these fridges, because that's where the motor is. So it's just trying to raise it above. So at this fridge here, so I use this as an actual fridge, so I don't have anything on the other fridge. I've got the wires all coming through one of the holes, But with this one, it's just basically coming around the side. It seems to work okay. And then you just close the door and it's kind of sealed down there and it works. And then when you don't need it, you just take it out if you want and use it as a proper fridge. So in order to get past that step, I've had to put, now I'm going to have to put in something stronger than this, but that box is kind of the size I'm looking for. So I need a piece of wood or something, which I'm sure I'll find tomorrow. Because the legs on that are just, they're kind of short. So I did think about putting this in, and it kind of slips in. The lowest one it slips into is there, but it's not big enough for that to go in. So we need to find something, which we will do tomorrow. I've got a load of stuff. It kind of looks like that. It's lifted slightly, but it's enough to take it up past that step, because otherwise, if you have it on the floor, you won't be able to get the door closed. Will it close? Yes, it'll close. So, and yeah, now obviously I have to turn it sideways, so that is pointless, but let's not worry about that. I mean, I'm not even sure. I mean, I suppose you could put the kind of the probe from the Inkbird over there in there, and then that would work, wouldn't it? So that might be something to do instead of that kind of thermometer, which is probably not right. All those digital thermometers are never right anyway, to be honest. So that is the home for that. I wanted to get a new fermenter, okay, for basically I changed my fermenter. I usually get a new fermenter every year, okay, and the two main ones that I had were the two plastic ones at the end that I'll show you, and they're up. The last one I replaced one of them with the Firmzilla last year, but I can't remember. I don't know which one's which because I mixed them up and I can't tell them apart anymore. So anytime I ferment with them now, I'm always a bit kind of in my head, and I was thinking like, I really need to get a new fermenter because I don't know which one's which and all. And I wanted stainless steel, but stainless steel is always really kind of expensive, and I know it'll last forever, but when you're paying like £20 or whatever it is for a plastic fermenter, and you're paying like, you know, for something like that, it's like 170 quid. Now I got it for £104. I got wired off by Jacko. That was a Black Friday deal. Hello Jacko, thank you very much for making me spend all that money. But £104 was quite a decent price for that, so I jumped in on that. But I really, as I say, I really wanted a new fermenter. I was so tempted to get another Firmzilla, but so the one I've got is a Firmzilla all-rounder, but there's a few little niggles that really kind of annoy me about it. One is the base. So it's called an all-rounder because the entire base is round. That's literally why it's called an all-rounder. But you get the base, and the base, which is what sets it, you set it on the ground, it's separate. This is the base, but that is way too big for these fridges. So that's my first gripe with the all-rounder. It's a good system. I like it. I like brewing with it. It's my kind of #1 fermenter. Brewing pressure is really fantastic. Everything, there's no chance of any oxidization or anything like that, and it seems to help with the aroma, yada yada yada. But that thing there, that's an awful pain. What I don't understand is why they couldn't have just put like feet or like a little inbuilt stand molded onto the plastic. So think like the old Coopers. Maybe I say old, maybe they still use them, I don't know, still make them. But the Coopers fermenters used to have like 4 little feet on the bottom. They could have something like that molded into the plastic. They could do it. Of course, it's plastic. You can do anything with plastic. But something like that, so it can sit by itself there that would be an upgrade for sure. I don't know why they didn't do it. I'm sure there's a reason. Kegland are very good, let's be honest, at R&D and all this type of thing, to give them their dues. But that is kind of one thing that's bothered me. So basically, when I ferment, and I'm sure I've showed you this before, in order to get past, you know, that step again, to put it on a block, which is kind of what I'm thinking I could put on this other fermenter, but I have to put it on a block from a pallet, and then like a saucepan that I've stolen from the house. My wife was looking for that the other week. She says, "Where's that saucepan?" She says, I don't know, I haven't seen that in ages, no idea where it is. It's in here, I've stolen it. So that works, but it's all a bit kind of Heath Robinson kind of thrown together, so that bothers me. And then when I'm trying to like do a dry hop, I have to take everything out, and it's a bit of a pain to get kind of the, if I want to do gravity readings, I have to get the beer line onto the top, and then it's just an awful pain, and you're moving the thing about, and just, so then whenever you want to do like the dry hop or anything like that, unless you obviously have like some kind of magnet or something, so the hop bag is inside the fermenter with a magnet on the other side, and you take the magnet away and it drops in. That's one way of doing it. I don't do it like that because, you know, I just, you know, give me a break. So what you have to do is to take the lid off. So again, if you're not familiar with it, so basically the lid is this bit here, and then there's this collar, it's just separate. So that basically is what keeps it on, otherwise the lid would blow out with all the gas, the pressure in there, which is sitting at, what's that, about 7 psi or something like that. Ooh. So that's what I'm talking about there. There's not an awful lot of room on the top. The problem is that that lid is very difficult to get off, and you have to, basically I have got gloves, special gloves for taking the lid off the fermenter, because I can't do it with my hands because it's just too slippy and I can't get enough grip. Even then, I have to put a bit of gas into it just to try and help to get the lid off. But when you do that, it basically, as soon as you do it, you just release all the gas, all the CO2, and it's just like this explosion, which is quite unpleasant, if I'm being honest. So there's that. So it's really difficult to get that lid off at any time. Even when you're trying to clean it, trying to get that bloody lid off is a pain in the arse. So that is the other problem that really, and that is more annoying than the base. I can live with the base because we have a solution there. You know, it's homemade solution, but it still works. But that kind of, getting that lid off is just a pain in the arse. So I was seriously considering getting another one. And I could probably, but you know what, never mind that, but I was seriously considering getting another one, but that put me off, and I would need to have a look and see what else is out there, or if they're going to bring a new version of that out with my, you know, complaints rectified, basically. I'm sure, as I say, Kegland know what they're doing, they're very good at R&D, and they probably know all this, and probably will fix this at some point in the future, so, but as I say, that's kind of what led me then to thinking I'm going to get another fermenter. Another reason too was I got the G40 so I could do double batches. So I wanted to do 40 litres, 2 kegs, but if I want like a hoppy beer, the problem is that by the time you drink one keg, the other keg will not be as hoppy, it'll start to fade. So it won't be the same beer, which is a problem. It's not too bad for like any other beers that are not relying on hops, but like IPAs, what I like to drink is IPAs mainly, and that is a problem. So what seems to work is that I do one batch, pressure fermented, get through it in no time, dry hopped everything in the keg, and then the other one, I'll just take my time doing it. So like a lager. So I like to do a lot of New Zealand Pilsners. You can have one going in at like 10 to 12 degrees, normal fermenter, and it'll take like 3 or 4 weeks maybe to finish, including a dry hop on it and a cold crush for a week. That'll add an extra week on. With that one there, with a pressure fermenter, you're talking that's at least half that time going. It's 2 weeks, maybe at the most. So that way you can get it into the keg, and then it'll probably be drunk by the time the other one goes into the keg. So that's kind of an example. It's not really a good example because, you know, obviously you like to leave a lot of condition for 3 months, but you know, you get the idea there. So that also works. Normal fermenter, normal fermentation temps, and just let it go about its business naturally. So yeah, that is it. As I say, I'm going to take it out for maiden test drive tomorrow. I need to get it all cleaned and oxy cleaned. We'll do that tomorrow, I think, because it's too cold tonight for me to sit out here any longer. I just want to get the brew day stuff ready, get in the house, get another couple of beers. Hope that doesn't kick, and that'll be it. So happy Homebrew Wednesday. I'm away. See you later. Bye.